Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room and keeps you all entertained as he comes and sits in the middle of my work. And today I have a fun fold card for you that's very pretty. It's one that does stand and it has a place to write your message on the back. So let's just get started. Okay, here is my card, and this card was put together by my partner in crime here, Sandy Ship, who helps me also with my crafting and organization and cutting for classes and doing things like that. And this card stands like this. Have it stand for you. And so it stands up and it's got this message here, and then it's got a place to write your message on the back. And that's what we're going to make. So let me tell you what it takes to make this card. This piece is 4 1/4 wide, so half of a page. And then it is 9 7/8 inch long. And then it is scored at 1 1/2. Then I turned it around and scored it at 1 1/2. And then from one of the ends, so this is 1 1/2, 2 and 2 1/2 on one side, and 1 1/2 from the other end. And that creates the base for our card. Then in this case, I made mine out of a similar paper to the one that Sandy did. So I've got a piece of Balmy Blue, and this is 4 1/2 inches by 3 inches, and that's the piece that's going to connect the top to the bottom of this card. So then you need, for the inside, a piece that is 4 1/4 by, or 4 by 5 1/4 to fill in the inside of this, so you have something interesting to look at the margins there. And then we need a piece of designer series paper that is 3 inches by 4 1/2. And that fits on the top of here, and that's what's going to connect these two pieces. Then you need two pieces that are 1 1/4 inch by 4 inches. And those are going to go on the top and the bottom piece. I made my sentiment so that it is 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. And I used the Happy Birthday stamp from the Unbounded Love stamp set, this Happy Birthday here. I love the font and I just love the way it looks. And I used some Balmy Blue ink to do my stamping. All right, so once we have that again, let's just go ahead and put this together. Now she did flowers and leaves, and what I've done is I used the bow punch to do a bunch of leaves, more than I need, I think, for the card in Old Olive, because I thought that went pretty well with this paper. And then I took an old punch, and it's one that we had. They were called Itty Bitty Flowers, if I remember right. It is this one. Anything that gives you a small flower, I think will work. And hers were done with something that I don't have. So I did these flowers, and I thought it would be kind of fun to stick those flowers onto some of these leaves and or stems and do those kinds of flowers on mine. And I used Fresh Freesia and Old Olive. So you need a scrap of paper out of whatever color you're going to do your flowers, to cut out some flowers, and you need a strip of, oh, let's see, how wide is this strip? This worked for the punch, for the bow punch. This is like 1 1/2, maybe a little under 1 1/2, and it fits neatly into the punch. so that you can slide it down here and just cut those leaves out in a nice long punch. So we have flowers and we have leaves and our card. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'll go over this again, 4 1/4 by 9 7/8 in 1.5 inches, in 1.5 inches to score, then at 2 inches and 2 1/2 on one side to make the standing card. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this piece of paper on here, and I think I'm just going to use some Tombow glue. Oh, I see. There's the other side up, the one that she was using. Let's see, which do I want to use? Either one of that works pretty well. I think I'm going to use the darker one. I think it's very pretty. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Tombow glue to this and attach it to my Balmy Blue piece here, getting an equal margin all the way around. And because I use Tombow, you can wiggle this into place until you've got it set so that it's nice and straight. For the fancy fold, this one's actually a pretty easy one to put together. So there's that piece. Now I'm going to add this piece to the inside of my card, and again I'm going to use the Tombow glue. And set that into place right here to give us something a little more interesting to look at when we have the whole card put together. Wiggle that around until the margins are just the way you want them. There we go. All right. Then we're going to add this piece. No, we're not. We're going to put on these pieces. And again, a little bit of Tombow. The nice thing about Tombow, even if you get a little glue outside, a glue eraser, once that is dry, will clean anything right up. Okay, so I'm going to reinforce my little stand there, and then this piece is going to go on here. So maybe I will finish this by putting my sentiment on there and putting my flowers on and doing all of that. So what I did was I cut this little piece of white, stamped my image, and then I used an ink dauber with the Balmy Blue to go along the edges, and then also to put a little bit of ink across this so that it wasn't so stark white. So that I'm going to put right down here, but I'm going to use some dimensionals for that. Put a butterfly on hers, and I think I'd rather have more flowers. So I'm going to cut some of these stems off a little bit so that my flower won't peek out and let you know there's a leaf under there. And doesn't have to be pretty, they just need to be a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead, I think I'm going to use my dot runner for this, and go ahead and put some glue on the back of this and put this into place right in here, that pretty old olive, and maybe trim down another couple of these and put that one in here as well. Maybe I'll pick this up and put that one behind it. I'll put some glue on this. and stick this one behind here so it adds a little bit more dimension, and maybe part of one, maybe a smaller stem. Doing lots of surgery on my leaves here, but if it finishes the way I'd like it to, then it'll be just fine. So I'm going to stick this one right in here like that. Now I'm going to take these flowers. Oops, what happened to it? It took off on me. Okay, so I'm going to take these flowers and I'm going to use the back of a pen will work, your bone folder will work, anything, just to give this flower a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to put a little tiny bit of Tombow on the back side of this little flower and stick it into place on a couple of these stems. And we're going to get a little bit more dimension by doing that as well. And a little bit of Tombow on the back of that little flower and drop that into place, maybe right in here. And a couple more of these. I think I've got 5 and I'm going to use all 5 of them. I just happened to see this little punch, and it's an old one. We've had it around, but it doesn't matter. Anything you've got in your stash will work. So I'm going to put one more up here at the top, and I think it picks up the colors in that paper really well. So I'm going to put one right down here so that it encroaches a little bit on my sentiment. And then I'm going to add this one right here. Then I thought I'm going to use some just plain old rhinestones here and put some of these rhinestones in the middle of these flowers. Maybe one over here in the corner. There we go. Now I'm going to add some Tombow to the back of this in this corner and in this bottom corners here, and get that put into place. So when I close that up the right way, then I can put this into place and it's going to hold its shape. There we go. So there we have our card. And the piece we didn't talk about was I used my deckled rectangles and I made an extra piece of white and to put on the back of this right here. And I'm thinking maybe it might need just a little tiny piece of that Balmy Blue to look exactly right. I'm going to cut one and I'll be right back. So I cut this piece 4 inches by 5 1/4 so that it'll go here on the back. And I'm going to use some Tombow on that. Right here on the back of the card, just like that. And then we'll add this deckled piece right here in the center so you have a place to do your, put your sentiment on. So again, with a little bit of Tombow glue. I was watching somebody in a class the other day and they just had so much easier time using the Tombow glue and getting things on straight versus struggling with the tape. So I wanted to demonstrate putting the whole thing together with the Tombow glue and getting that so that you can get your margins exactly right. Now on this one, because we did it the way we did, I am going to maybe use this little punch and tap a couple more of these flowers, and I'm going to put them on for this bunch of leaves here, and I'm just trimming down some of it, and I think I'm just going to make it that big so that it has a couple of leaves and then a place for a flower maybe up there and one right down here to just be decorating a little bit on this back side. So I'm going to use my dot runner tape to put this stem right down here in the corner, and then I'm just going to wrinkle up this flower a bit and put some Tombow on the back of these flowers, one for the top right up here, and then one for the next stem down. There we go. Add a little glue, then add a little flower, and maybe we'll add a couple of gems in the center of those so it matches the ones in the front. There we go. And there is our finished card. So what we have is this, and it stands up, and it has happy birthday on it, and it's got some flowers in this beautiful paper, and I think that is the meadow, can't remember, I'll put the name of it up on the screen for you, but I think that is actually quite pretty. As I look at it, I've got little bits of paper here where I don't need them, but these flowers could move down just a little closer to this sentiment, and I think that would be just as nice. So there we go. That is my project for the day. And now she put butterfly on hers, and I was trying to do this without using a die cut, just using a punch to make it easy. And so I've also got a few of these little dragonflies that I thought maybe might go on here in place of that butterfly. And we can put some of those there and maybe put one up here in the corner, which would draw people's attention to it. There we go. That's my finished project. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Let's see, there's some new online essentials coming out here soon. I think I can get to them right now, and so they'll be out very soon for you to see them. And let's see what else is going on. That might be it for the moment. But there we go. There's two different things. I don't know what the birthday blooms comes from, but maybe I can look that up and put it in the description for you as well. Anyway, that's it for me. Again, thanks for stopping by, and I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.